Hello everybody and welcome to a Shirley Park Greens update. So we're here beginning of February and I just want to talk to you about the current condition of the greens and their performance versus what we're going to be doing with the greens this season coming. So let's start by addressing the current situation, which is they are very wet and soft, but that's winter greens for you, and clay push-up greens with little or poor drainage, but they're doing all right. If we look down, we've got no disease, we've got few pitch marks on this one, like very few, but we've got great coverage, we've got good colour, and we've got no bare patches so far. So they're holding up to the weather reasonably well, but we'll keep monitoring that as we go forwards. But these are good signs for winter greens. So the first thing is April. Spring, we know at Shirley Park, regardless of temperature coming in March, that doesn't always mean lack of rain, so we still can't always get out there on the greens at Shirley. But April, every year that I've worked here so far, this will be going into my third growing season, my third spring, third summer. That normally kicks in the first 10 days of April. Now, you've got different species of grass on greens. You have bent grass and you have two types of poa. One of the poas lays dormant, one of them starts growing, and then you might remember some bent grass, we call it, last year, lying quite leggy. It looked about an inch long, it wasn't, but it was leaning over quite leggy, and that's because it needs really warm soil temperatures before it perks up. Now, we're going to try and help that this year by verti-grooming and verti-cutting a little bit more often, and that will stop that leggy limp grass that made the greens look quite long. It isn't that they're long, it's dormant grass that doesn't wake up until it's much warmer into spring, so May time really. So we're going to tackle that with more verti-grooming and more verti-cutting. The other thing in April is we have renovations, roughly right in the middle of April. So we aren't doing a hollow core, so it's not as disruptive, and when it's recovered after a couple of weeks, it won't be as disruptive or as long in the recovery process. Spring brings growth, so it will heal together very well. We're going to up the rolling this year to help that heal as well, and it's only a small, well, a medium, I'll be honest, it's a medium-sized solid tine, not a hollow tine. So we're not taking out any plugs, we're just making holes. And we add sand, brush that in, and that will firm up the surface ready for the season ahead. We're not taking anything out, so you don't have that pliability. That happens in winter with all the moisture, you know. We're going to put sand in, that will firm it up. So why I mentioned rolling, now we have a working irrigation system. So last year the irrigation went down, well, we never got it running. March, April, it never fully operated. That's why we had the big rewire, massive investment, huge weight off our mind, because we know we can come in as greenkeepers and the greens have received water. Now, rolling is a form of traffic. Like golfers walk along it, like machines walk along it, machines add to it. It won't surprise you if you can imagine in your heads over rolling, it will wear out the grass. You'll have no grass left. So rolling is a form of stress. Every process is a form of stress. So if we take away the irrigation system, that would stress grass out. If I said to you, I'd like you to do a sponsored run across the Sahara Desert just in one day, see how far you can go, great. You'd get all fit, all healthy, and you would tackle that challenge. If I said now do it with no water and a backpack on your back, well, you may do it, but you'd certainly be stressed out internally and you'd be dehydrated. So now if I said do it in shorts and t-shirt, here's a little bit of water, we'll take your backpack away, now there's less stress. So that's like the greens having a roller across them when there's no irrigation. It's a very silly, dangerous idea. So every greenkeeper, the first thing you do is try and remove stress. Now you've got to remember, when greens are at their optimum and healthy, even at the best courses in the world, you're cutting them to within an inch of their life anyway. You're pushing grass to the real survival limits. So to add anything from mowing, rolling, walking is stressful. So when the irrigation went down, we had to remove the rolling because you're adding stress, you would degrade the surface and you'll have no grass once the irrigation was back on, or you're on the back foot and it will be really difficult to resurrect. So we're going to ramp up the rolling this year. We're going to go back to what we did, not in 2024, 2023 we had very short greens and we were rolling 2 to 3 times a week depending on the program of jobs that we had on that week. So we're going to be ramping this up. That year, I heard anyway, you can disagree with me if you want, but we're pretty confident we had good feedback in 2023 on the greens. Maybe not for the whole year, but in the real prime, it was there. You've got to get over that spring growth and really get into the season. But we're going to ramp that up this year. More verticutting, more rolling. That's faster, firmer greens, healthier greens thanks to the irrigation system. And because of all that, we can now push them harder to achieve that. So that is the goal for the year ahead. Our team's quite excited because we want happier golfers. We've got a working irrigation system. So that's a complete weight off our shoulders that now we can drive that performance harder and faster and better than last year. So apologies, but that's what happens with a weakened irrigation system. Hopefully we're on easy street now with that operational. So that's what we're going to be doing. We'll still have the summer aeration in August, but otherwise I don't think there's anything else to say other than, you know, this is the goal for the greens. It's always been the goal for the greens, and hopefully come May, June, you'll agree that we're in a much better place than we were last year. So thanks for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my blogs for all that information to keep you up to date, and tune in for the next one.